everyone. I hope you can hear me well because the microphone is kind of weird. Okay, hi, my name is Vera, or Miss Vera as my students call me. As Tatiana said, I work at Nova Shkola, and that's just a well-known school in Moscow. We don't say that it's good because we don't know here because it's totally new. But what I'm going to talk about here is how we use portfolios, and I'm going to talk about the case study and what worked, what didn't work, what we did. So this is just our experience. I'm not saying I'm totally, know everything. No, I'm just talking about how it works. Do you guys have your mobile phones with you? Okay, so I will ask you to take your mobile phones and go to this website. It's TRENDY.com. This is room for the teenagers. The teenagers love their phones, so we're gonna have a little vote, and I'm gonna ask you guys to. So when you go to Menti.com, you will need the code. It's right there on top. 579. Yeah, it's right there. 579804. 579804. It's right there, on top of the bed. Okay, when you're logged in, thanks for your answers. The question is, what words come to your mind when you hear the word portfolio? File and achievement, nice. The green fonts we can't really see it. Photos, file, records, photos, folder, experience. Nice. Okay, thank you. Let's see what the second question is. Okay, achievement results goes achieved. Thank you much. Do you have your own teacher's portfolio? It's anonymous. Come on, yes, more yeses. Okay, right, and the last question. More no's. Much more no's. The last question, have you ever used a portfolio with your students? I know. Okay. Okay, so you see the statistics, and that's basically what it was when we started this project. A lot of us used to have our own teacher's portfolio, but that was just a collection of different certificates, different maybe exam results, that was it. And a lot of us, when we started that, a lot of us have not had any prior experience of using portfolios with the students. So we were just like, what do we do here? But we just wanted to experiment. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. Thank you very much. And you're now going to talk to your partner. And yes, that's my cat. And you know, I always have lots of cats in the presentations, and I think that if you don't enjoy the presentation, you will at least enjoy the cat photos. So you're going to talk to the person next to you, answering the question, if you have the teacher's portfolio, what do you have there? And if you don't, what would you put in that portfolio? Maybe the teacher's portfolio now. Or maybe if you don't want to have it at all, just like say why.
Yeah.
Okay, 30 seconds left. Thank you very much. So I count to 3, 2, 1. Can we stop now? Okay, let's do it again. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. So, what were the ideas? Just like shout them out. Pictures.
Certificate.
Articles. Wow.
Hobbies.
Hobbies. Why not?
Useful tips.
Something.
Student certificate.
Yeah. Student certificates. Yeah. Wow. Cool.
Personal things.
Exactly. The feedbacks and maybe some. How do you call them when you work somewhere and the people write the recommendations, reference letters. Yeah. Wow. Tickets to where? Yeah, tickets to, TRENDY. That's how much I spent on my education. No, receipts. Millions of rubles. Yes, CELTA receipt. You can get the taxes back of your CELTA. Do you know that? You can have 13% back. Yeah, it's something for you to know. Okay, something else? Right, so we were at a loss. We were like thinking on what we put in that portfolio. But before we started collecting all that, we decided to think, why do we want to start portfolio in the first place? And these were our official goals, so we just were serious. First one was to help our learners take responsibility for the learning process. Basically assume that if the learners do something on their own, the learning process will become their own responsibility. How naive we were. Second goal was to obtain a powerful self-assessment tool. Third one was to get visual proof of learning outcomes. So we basically, since we were the new school, like entirely new, and we got a lot of, I wouldn't say criticism, it got a lot of attention from the outside. A lot of people were like saying, okay, you have all those nice furniture, prove us that you can teach something. So we wanted that proof. And we wanted to test this approach. Basically, We did want to do the case study. We were ready to see what will happen. We were ready for the negative results, for no results. We're open for wide opportunities. This is the definition of the portfolio that we most liked. I will give you some time to read it. So, which words are highlighted?
Development.
Yeah, development. So we wanted to see the process of like changing from point A to point B, and we wanted to see if there is any change. Plus, we wanted it to be child friendly, so we didn't want this pressure. Well, with the exams, it's usually the pressure. With the portfolio, it's more fun. Oh, that's what we thought, assumed. That's what we wanted. We wanted the demonstration of the result and the experiment. That's basically what we were focusing on. And we didn't want just the collection of tests and the formality. We didn't want a pile of paper ending up in our, what do you call that? Okay. We did discuss paper-based versus digital, because nowadays it's fashionable to be digital, to be online. But if you come back to the goals, we wanted the demonstration of results here and now. And we do have a lot of visitors at school. The parents come. The parents pay money to come to our school, so we wanted to present something right away. The parent comes or a guest comes, visitor, we're like, okay, here's the portfolio. Boom. So that's why we chose the paper-based version. Those were the steps. So we first found the person in charge. And I guess that refers to anything you do in the department, you do together. You have to have a person who's in charge of everything and who's to blame. In this case, that was me and my other colleague. And then every time we did something with the portfolio that was centralized, it wasn't like Oleg did one thing and then Irina did the other thing and then we were decentralized. It was that we all did the same things together. So that person in charge had to write the instruction to the colleagues and to the students, so that when we had a portfolio lesson, every teacher had the same page with the same instructions. This is how the initial instruction to the students looked like. So we inform the students what we are doing and why we are doing that, and we ask them to buy their own folders. Guess what happened when we asked to buy their own folders?
You can wait for quite a long time.
We waited, and we waited, and we waited, and then we finally bought them. There were some who bought some, just found some files, and but yeah, that was hard. So this year we decided to ask the school to buy the same folders for everyone, and then we allowed the students to decorate them, put their names, stickers, whatever. But that was faster, so we gave up. Don't do that unless you have very organized students. Then the first task in the portfolio last year was learning strategies and awareness. You remember that we wanted the kind of responsibility to be at least shared between a teacher and a learner. So we wanted to show them the language can be used can be learned not only in the classroom but somewhere else. So we had this activity where the learners were asked to put yes or no for the statements. I regularly watch films in English. I often read comic books and read it in English. I keep a diary, a blog in English, blah, blah, blah. So they put ticks and ticks and crosses. And then we discussed that, English is not only a subject to school, but it's around you. You can do a lot of things. Why don't we choose one little thing that you're going to focus on this trimester or this term, and this will help you learn English. And here you see, in the end, they would say, what would you like to try? And they chose something else. It actually changed some learners' habits. So we did ask them in the end of the year, and they actually did start watching more cartoons or reading some books, stuff like that. This year, we also added the goals section. You know, when you write your goal, they say that it becomes real. You kind of have a commitment, and so we plan, like we let the students know the content which we're going to cover during the semester, and then the students set their own goals and write them down into their portfolio. And then in the end of the term, we come back to them and see what they achieved, what they didn't, why and why not. And the teacher also sets his own goal, his or her own goals, and we discuss that with the buddies. In the portfolio, we also had the can-do statements. We took the European framework with the can-do statements for every single skill and for every level. We changed it slightly to be more understandable for the learners, and they just like put ticks and crosses, and they self-assess their own skills. But we also included reading logs. Do you have any idea of what that might be? Reading log, what is that?
It's when you read and you record everything that you read, some ideas, what you're reading, how you're reading.
Yes, it's like a reading diary. So we have our own design of the reading log, and we have a library with the books, and we take books out of the library, and the learners keep their reading logs and they put them in the portfolio. They first thought like, oh, another paper. But then, when we had some final activities with the portfolios, they were like, interesting. You have 3, I have 2. Why don't I go and read another book? Then we, of course, included some samples of writing with the feedback from the teacher, and that was always fun to include the before and after versions, and that was pretty impressive. Then we also recorded some speaking samples. We put them online, and then we put the QR codes so that you could just scan the QR code and watch it. Then we had teachers' comments, progress tests, and then self-assessment forms, of course. They said that we do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on our experience. This is why we included lots of reflection into that portfolio work. For example, we have exit tickets. We don't have them every single lesson, to be honest, but we have a whole collection of those. This is like a little piece of paper with some reflection questions, such as 3 things you learned today, and 2 things you have a question about, and 1 thing you could do to be more effective. We have different styles, like this is one more. I have learned, I have difficulty in, I didn't like, the most interesting thing was, blah, blah, blah. So we designed that with my colleague, and then it was our job, since we were responsible for the project, to print it out, cut it down, and give it to all our colleagues. So all the colleagues, they have a pack of those exit tickets, and whenever they feel it's the right time, they do this mini reflection thing, and take it, read it, reflect, and then put it back into their portfolios. And it does require time as well, but it's really, really helpful for the learners to kind of record what they've done, and for the teacher as well, because if the learners have nothing to put under I have learned, that's probably it's probably your problem. And sometimes when we started doing that, to be honest, I was scared to use it sometimes because that was going to show what was really happening in the classroom, and I was like, oh my God, what if they put nothing? So I highly recommend the thing. Even if you don't do the portfolio, just the exit ticket is a very, very useful thing to do. We also had the term reflection. I call it the big time reflection. It's in the end of every term, we ask the learners different questions. They have to, we have to think about what you have learned, think about yourself, and then think about your classes. So they have to reflect about their knowledge, about their participation, and basically you. And that's the scariest part, but it's really, really helpful again. And if you do it regularly, on a regular basis every term, it does show the progress. This is a self-assessment sheet where the learners had to grade their own participation. Like I did a lot of tasks on Quizlet, or I've read at least 3 books from the library, and then they rate from 1 to 10 how true that is for them. And that actually is quite powerful. And then the last one, overall I worked a lot. True or not true. And then the kids are actually quite honest about their own input. And the big time reflection is in the end of the year. Basically, it repeats the term reflection, and they reflect on these 3 areas of their learning. And in the end of every term, hopefully, but last year we did it twice, after half a year, we had a portfolio show. Is when we put several groups together, and sometimes they were the groups from different classes even. So we put them together in one room, maybe 2 or 3 groups. They exchanged the portfolios, and they looked at what everybody had. And we had an activity, something like a portfolio treasure hunt. So we had a list of different activities that we had overall, and they were looking through the portfolios and ticking what this person has or doesn't have. And that was fun. We found out that some learners didn't have much, and some learners actually had a lot. And a lot of girls, they were like, Miss Vera, can you please take my portfolio home because I want to decorate it nicely. A lot of even boys wanted their portfolio to look more presentable. So it did have that kind of reaction. Okay, my cats again. Now the fun part, the challenges. We were very honest about how it all went. And we did have some lost items. For example, you kind of grade the test and then you give it to the learner and say, okay, go and do the error correction work. He comes back, paper's lost. Ta-da! Lots of things happened, that's why not all the portfolios were full enough. But of course, at school we do have a lot of other work, and we do have a lot of other important things to do, and we didn't have time sometimes for all the activities that we wanted to carry out. A lot of kids from previous schools had some negative experience, and every time they heard portfolio, they thought about boredom, they thought about something that they must do but they don't want to, and they were like, really negative about that. We had to overcome that negativity. Since we are working in a team, we were kind of all wanted to be on the same page, but not everybody was as willing to do this experiment and to carry out all these tasks, including me, to be honest. I was like, portfolio again. I'd rather read a book with them. But then I got into that. That's why I'm here, because in the future, we decided that we will continue the portfolio. It did bring that sense of responsibility for what's going on. Plus, they love their portfolio to be, like thick, and they love looking at it at the end of the year. Because a lot of the kids, when you ask them, like, okay, what did you guys do in your English class? Oh, we played Kahoot. Really? Or, now what did you guys do? Oh, we played with a ball the whole lesson. And they completely forget that they played with a ball because they were asking, have you ever questions? That's the part where they completely forgot. But we didn't want the parents to think that all we do is play with the ball. And then we decided to have a fuller plan for maybe not for the year ahead, but maybe for at least a term ahead, so that both the teachers and the learners kind of realized what was going on. And then we really wanted to look for more portfolio activities. And to not only collect, but do something. That's what we're gonna do now, actually. We're gonna help us to create more portfolio activities so that next year we could come and talk about them. So I would ask you, since that's considered a workshop, right? I would ask you to work in little groups and think about some crazy ideas, or maybe really smart ideas of what you can do with a portfolio. Anything, really, anything. I will give you 5 minutes for that, to brainstorm. Find your partners. It can be a group of 5, a group of 10, a group of 2. Okay, who would like to share their ideas about what to put in the portfolio and what to do with that? And do we have Santa's little helpers? Oh yay, thank you. Pass the microphone to Tatiana. Thank you much. Hey, Tatiana, our colleague, the Spanish teacher.
Yeah, from Spanish teachers. Okay, we have many ideas actually of what we can collect in the portfolio. So we can put there some photos, for example, parties or lessons, some funny photos, pictures, and infographics. For example, some grammar topics, we can try to present an infographic and put there. It can be fun. What else? Collection of quotes from the teacher, some funny quotes, for example, from the teacher, from the students, postcards and letters to each other, so this kind of stuff.
I hear a video of the student can draw an express from a cartoon and
Okay.
road and then presented like road play. Not road, but a natural play.
Okay, so do we need to record it, put it online, and then as a QR code?
It's an video.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That's it. Thanks.
Thanks. Alec, did I see a hand from you? Please help with the mic. Please. Okay. Does anybody else have any ideas? Okay. Let's see which one is more popular. Exit tickets. Then goes portfolio treasure hunt. Then portfolio show is competing with writing their own goals. Writing their goals is winning. And then portfolio treasure hunt and portfolio show. The exit tickets is still a winner. Okay, thank you much. The next slide is. No, next slide, sorry. No, not here. Sorry, yeah, please write down an idea of what you found the most useful. This is basically for me, I'm not going to check you. Just like a little idea, okay, include cats in the presentation, that will count. And then we'll actually have to write the text. Here probably is not really connected. I mean, you can write an idea which is not directly connected to the content of my presentation. Maybe something else, you know, use Mentimeter at menti.com as a survey tool. I love this. The teenagers get really involved when you ask for their opinion or when they can see, you know, the voting up and down. And when they played with their phone in the lesson for at least 3 minutes, then they're all yours. They consider you a cool teacher. Okay, and the final question. And last one, please write down what you think you wish was different today. And again, that's anonymous. Wish was different than it was. Like, you had a presentation, yeah. Something was this way. I was wearing a blue dress, you wish it was red. Oh, sorry. You played with mobile phone, you wish you didn't. Talked about portfolio, you wish I was talking about books. No talking, be honest.
How many pages are there on your portfolio? How many pages?
On my own, I haven't counted the pages. I know it's purple. I've decorated it nicely. I never really needed it. I brought it to the job interviews, and they're like, but they never really looked into it. So I put it on the table and boom. Okay, thank you very much. And then some final slides of my presentation. I will read your answers later. So yeah, previous slides. So, okay, yeah, that's me on Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook. I write a lot about work, about different events. So do follow me. That's not really a personal page. That's a working page. I do post some cat pictures. If you can tolerate that, then do subscribe. You can add me as a friend or just barely follow me. You don't have to add me as a friend. I have a website, but it's more like a, you know, this is me, hello, follow me on Facebook. I work at Nova Škola. And then at Nova Škola in summer, in June, we are going to have the summer school called Elephant or Elephant Tips Summer School. This is our web address and the Facebook address. We will soon publish some updates. Do come, that's fun. Really hands-on. We have a number of tracks. We do have a lot of really cool speakers and lots of interaction. So highly recommended. And now it's the time for the questions plus the portfolio show, because of course I brought some.
So, do you have any questions? Please feel free to ask. We'll bring you the microphone.
You know, you can't compete with portfolio, that was my trick. No, they will be busy and no questions will be asked.
Okay. So while you are looking at the portfolios, and we'll use this time to thank Vera for your presentation.
Thanks for coming and listening.
Really inspiring.